Welcome back to the North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame YouTube channel. I'm Ed Holinsky. Got another great guest for you today. This gentleman from the Tonawanda area. He's got quite the resume and quite the laundry list of things we need to talk about. Graduated in 1993, the youngest of five kids from Tonawanda. Older brothers played at Tonawanda in sports, one graduating in 1986 and one in 1990. He's got a North Tonawanda connection with his grandfather, Mike Susty, who was the team captain of the North Tonawanda football team back in 1924 and was also one of the original inductees into the North Tonawanda Football Hall of Fame back in 1967. His family also has a connection to George Vedder. They were growing up on Shartle Place in North Tonawanda. So without further ado, I'm going to give you and introduce you Mark Prelewicz from Tonawanda. How you doing, bud?
Good to see you, Ed. Thanks for having me on.
Wow, this is quite the laundry list. I didn't even mention that you scored a couple touchdowns in the 1991 TNT game, ran back a 97-yard kickoff return, and then caught an 8-yard touchdown pass. And for the record, you live outside of Syracuse, not too far from me, and then you're part of the Fayetteville Manlius School District, the football coaching staff. So you've kept your hands into the game as well, too, all these years.
Yep, yeah, got right into it, right out of college. So yeah, I've been coaching now over almost 23, 24 years now.
All right, for the people who are not familiar with you or need a refresher course, especially our friends in Tonawanda, give us your background, where you grew up in Tonawanda, your family, background as well too, and the beginning of athletics and sports with you.
Well, we grew up on William Street in Tonawanda, which is very close to the old Clint Small Stadium. Just a couple shortcuts through there, through some back alleys, and we were there right away. The like you said, the youngest of five. I mean, I've been at Tonawanda sports since I was born. So, my older sisters were in sports, both of them. My oldest sister Michelle was a cheerleader and ran track, and my other sister Missy was a diver and a high jumper. And like I said, since I was born, I was always at Tonawanda sporting events. Uh, Probably I think I was about 7 or 8 years old when I was the ball boy for the varsity team, and just been around it my whole life.
Your football career, did you go through an organized program like a Tyro program, or was it Sandlot?
We had the Tonawanda Football Clinic, which is down in Gastown, and in fact, there was a decent amount of NT guys. I know NT has their own Pop Warner league, and there was a few North Tonawanda kids that played in the Tonawanda Football Clinic, but it was mostly Tonawanda and in the Kenmores. But it was a nice big league back then. We had the two divisions, the older, like I think it might have been 8 to 10 year olds, and there was 6 teams in that division, and then the older kids 10 to 12. There's 6 teams in that league as well. So I mean, we had a great time. A lot of great coaches in the Tonawanda Football Clinic, and my last year was the year that they kind of stopped it. We were losing the numbers, and they started going to what is kind of around now with the one team for the town and travels to the other towns.
You're the baby of five. Looking back right now, and maybe you want to have extend some bragging rights. Who was the best athlete of the family?
Well, it's tough. My sister Michelle was a shot put in discus. My sister Missy was an all-state diver and high jumper. In fact, at one point, I don't know if it's still the case, but at one point, all five of us, had a school record. But I'd say probably the most accomplished one would be my brother Matt. He did some great things in football. A great wrestler, held the wins record for a while, over 100 wins wrestling, and great baseball player as well. So I think I'd have to give the nod to my brother Matt.
What do you recall about your football career at Tonawanda? Who were some of your coaches and some of your influences?
The our again, I've been around it for a long time. My coaches for varsity was Chris DeMarco. That was my junior year, was his last year, and then Glenn Bateman came on. But I mean, in those days, we had two coaches on varsity. Just the two guys, and uh, actually, I think coming up, one of the guys was an NT guy, Coach Ramsey. Actually, kind of helped us out for a few years. He was actually my art teacher in grade school, and knew his name from my mom and dad talking about him, um, and then like I said, he was my art teacher in fifth and sixth grade, and got to sit down and talk to him a lot about about football. Didn't really know how much experience he had in all the years that he had actually coached. So like I said, he was the art teacher, and but he was a big influence there. I had some really good coaches in the Tonawanda football clinic. Nick Prezioso, who's an NT guy, he was one of my first coaches, and all the way through some of the guys in our neighborhood, Tom Bodie and Bruce Blackburn and Howie Geis. Growing up with my brothers, playing for them, and learning from those guys was amazing.
When you played at Tonawanda, what positions did you play? Offense and defense, I assume. But
Yeah, I was a running back, and I'd say probably an outside linebacker, strong safety type deal back then.
what do you recall about those TNT games? Besides that one, 1991, you ran a kickoff back for 97 yards and then caught a 8-yard touchdown pass. But what other things that you recall and stick in your mind about those TNT games?
The TNT games were just amazing. Like I said, growing up all those years and going to all the games, and uh, the crowd at both stadiums. I mean, I loved going to Vetter Stadium. The crowd at Tonawanda was a lot closer, but there was just something about going to Vetter, and the old stands, and for some reason I loved going in at halftime, into the back of the building, and then going down the stairs into the locker room. It was in the basement. I love the old those old those old locker rooms, and but the whole TNT experience was just amazing. Literally, I know people say both towns stop for it, but they do, and the whole week of school was a lot of fun. With the whole student community, and just great times. We didn't win either one, but just a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Besides playing North Tonawanda, what were some of the other schools that you played back then? It wasn't the old Niagara Frontier League, or maybe some of some of those schools, because you were playing comparable sized schools as opposed to the old Niagara Frontier League.
Uh, it was my junior year. It was still mostly the Niagara Frontier League. I mean, it was Niagara Falls. I think my junior year was mostly Niagara Frontier League in Newport and Ken East. I think we played LaSalle. I can't remember if we played LaSalle back then, but Amherst. And then my senior year, we started playing, some of the different schools. We had Depew on our schedule, but it was mostly still the NFL. But we had some different ones in there, and it wasn't a complete NFL schedule like we did with baseball, but it was mostly those guys.
Did it make a difference in football that you played some of these bigger schools, or did it even bother you at all?
No, that didn't bother us, because most of the guys I played with, we grew up with that. It wasn't really. something that we worried about. And in fact, going into our senior year, we were pretty upset that we were getting out of the NFL. We didn't think we were at a disadvantage. We still wanted to play those guys, and but the decision was made, like I said, our senior year, to kind of move past the NFL, and like you said, play schools more comparable to us. But no, it didn't bother us. Like I said, we grew up with that, so it was it was we were used to it.
Playing at Tonawanda, how big was the maintaining the tradition in the program?
I mean, for me personally, I'm a big history guy, and I love, like I said, being around it all my life. It was really important to know, for me, I knew who Clint Small was, I knew who Mr. Livinger was, and Mr. Ramsey, and all the old players, and it was really important to me to some of my friends that really might not have known those things, to try to pass that along to them. But one of my good friends, one of my best friends growing up, was Mac Gross, and his father was on that famous team, the famous Tonawanda team. So we were able to kind of pass along that stuff. And one of our good family friends was Larry Bodie. So it was important to us that they reminded us a lot of the history of Tonawanda. So it was important to us to keep that going.
Your grandfather is Mike Susty, a North Tonawanda legend, captain of the 1924 North Tonawanda football team. Unfortunately, we don't have film of him yet. I mean, we go back to 1928, but one of these days we may run across something from that 1924 team. I know you didn't get to know your grandfather because he passed away in 1959, and you hadn't been born yet at that point. And your mother was relatively young when your grandparents passed away. What did you learn from your mother about your grandfather, or as much as you could, or from other people?
Yeah, a lot from some of the old timers, like you said, that both my parents being from North Tonawanda, we spent a lot of time at my grandmother's house on Shartle, and getting to know some of the old timers. It was from what I would ask and learn is, from what everybody said, that the very first thing they would say was, wow, what a great guy Mike was. Just a great guy. And he had I guess what it was officially, I guess they called it a shoe shine shop on Oliver Street. And getting to learn that, the girl I dated in high school, her father was an NT guy, and he used to tell me a lot about him as well. That it officially was a shoe shine shop, but in the back he had an office. And from what I learned was, he would help, some of I guess the immigrants, that he spoke Polish, so he would help them, do things like do their taxes, and get them, I guess, their immigration papers. I guess it would be called maybe like a social worker right now. But he did a lot for the Polish community, in North Tonawanda. But again, it was always called a shoe shine shop, but in the back he helped a lot of people out. And then there's a few of the really old timers, that there was one, again, the girl I dated in high school, her grandfather asked me who my grandparents were, and when I said Mike Susty, he said, "Wow, he was a great running back. What a great running back he was." And then again, it was always, what a great guy he was.
He was always the captain. He was, I think, the basketball captain and the baseball captain as well too during his high school career at NT.
Yeah, it's great. For some reason, I was always drawn. My mother had, the old pictures of, the baseball team, and the football team and the basketball team in our house, the old black and white pictures. And for some reason, I was always drawn to those, just to look and see, what it looked like back in the 1920s. I just was amazed by those, and what high school kids looked like back in the 1920s was, like I said, it was just always very interesting to me. especially the basketball picture when there's literally only 5 guys on the team.
And he also lived through the pandemic back in the early 1920s as well, too, 100 years ago.
Yep, yep. And like I said, he went through all that and was the captain there, and then he ended up actually playing football at Canisius. And I actually have one of his old team picture at Canisius College. And then again, like as soon as he graduated, came right back to North Tonawanda to to help out his community.
You mentioned Shartle Place, and Shartle Place was also where the residents of George Vetter, the Vetters, were as well too. What did you learn about George Vetter? I'm not sure if you met him. You were probably a young boy at that
Yeah,
time.
I don't really remember meeting Coach Vetter, but yeah, knowing that he lived across the street from my mom lived on the one end. I guess that would be Payne Ave,
Right.
and then my father lived on the other end. So they grew up down the street from each other. And I think I remember my father saying that Coach Vetter lived across the street from him. Um, from hearing my dad talk about Coach Vetter, who was always, again, great guy, great coach, social studies teacher, I believe, is what he was, a social studies teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, and just hearing stories, from my dad talking about, again, what a great guy, and I always was, again, interested in him and Clint Small together, those two coming up and building the two programs together at the same time. Must have been just amazing back then to have those two legends, right next to each other.
Looking at your man cave right behind you there, you still honor the old Buffalo tradition. You got some Buffalo Braves up there, some old Buffalo Bills, pennants or whatnot. And you've got your Ithaca Bomber helmet in the background. Talk about that, your Buffalo history.
Yeah, just always sports on the TV, and Bills and Sabres, going to Bison's games. I don't remember vividly going to any Braves games, but um, you know, just always having it on the TV and rooting for both of those teams, nonstop, since we grew up, and getting the chance to go to a few games, maybe 1 or 2 games a year, one or two Sabres games, and not as many Bills games, but we used to love going to the Rock Pile and watching the Bison's games, and then again hearing some old stories about my father and my mother. They had season tickets for the Bills in the Rock Pile, and you know telling us that they cost maybe like $40 or something for the whole season, and running up and down the ramps at the Rock Pile. I mean, I didn't really watch the games. I was just running up and down the ramps. Same thing at the Odd, running up and down the ramps, and just something about those old stadiums. The Rock Pile was one of my favorites because you could, as a kid, I mean, you could just be entertained the whole time. And well, in fact, actually, a good couple good stories about the Rock Pile, because my brother Matt was actually an extra in the Natural. So me and my sister took him down, and we got to watch the scene that he was in, right by the dugout there at the Rock Pile, and seeing Robert Redford and all that. So that was a great memory from the Rock Pile.
At Tonawanda, what other sports did you play besides football?
I started out with wrestling and baseball. Like I said, both of my brothers were really good wrestlers. Matt was a really good wrestler, and going through all those tournaments for all those years, eventually I got a little burned out by it. Wrestling really wasn't. I didn't have my heart into it, so I stopped wrestling and just focused on football and baseball.
You teach and coach in the Fayetteville Manlius school district right outside of Syracuse, the eastern suburbs there. And you're an influence of young players. People look up to you and you coach them up. When you get talking to them and they may ask you about, where you grew up and where you how you played and your high school football experience, What do you tell them about Tonawanda?
I try to tell them that you know, as far as Tonawanda goes, just the community backing was just incredible, and how the community looks to the football team and to the athletes to to represent the community and to always understand that they're representing the community and try to impress upon them, even the young kids, how much the young kids look up to high school kids, and go to the high school football games on Friday nights, and they see these guys walking through, and they could pretty much be NFL players, and to in the kids' eyes, and just trying to make sure that they're doing the right things in school, and um, you know and again, just representing the community and our the program the right way. And if they're not doing the right things in school, if they're not representing the program the right way, that football's been around a lot longer than they have, and it'll keep going. So if you're not gonna represent the community and the program the right way, then you can't be a part of that.
You went to Tonawanda, then continued, I assume, your career at Ithaca College. You got the bomber helmet behind you.
Yeah.
Was coaching a way for you to transition out of taking the helmet off and keeping in the game without going cold turkey and trying to give it up?
Yeah, it was. I can vividly remember we would have a meeting with our head coach at the end of the season, and individual meetings. And I remember it was after my sophomore year. I went to Ithaca to be for the athletic training, and that was my way to, like you said, stay with the game. I knew after college I wanted to stay with in sports somehow. So athletic training is how I started. And then that meeting at the end of my sophomore year, um, I really enjoyed the X's and O's part of it, and the film study. It really drew me in. So I told my coach, I said, I think I wanna be a football coach. And he said, well, the easiest way to be a coach is if you're a teacher. So I walked out of that meeting and went down and switched my major to PE right away. And it was easy because we were pretty much taking the same classes those first 2 years, all the science classes. So it wasn't, that big of a switch to move over to PE. But yeah, that that first year on the varsity team in my sophomore year was it just opened my eyes. Like I said, I fell in love with sitting and watching film and breaking film down. And I wasn't the best player on the team, but I knew where to go and what to do, and I knew what the other team was going to do as well.
How is high school coaching changed from when you played to today, where you coach?
I don't think it's changed too much. The one thing that started is trying to have guys go both, or not go both ways. And to me, that's just completely foreign, especially for high school. If you have some great athletes, and you don't have the numbers, you don't have programs with 100 kids on a team. you know you need to play your best players, and then they need to be conditioned and be able to play the whole game. Most of the guys I grew up with, we didn't come off the field on. And I know that the guys at NT, most of those guys, same thing. They didn't come off the field for most of the game. And that's been one of the bigger things. And the kids are, I'm not going to say they're different. And I think they're pretty much the same, and they'll respond to a coach that wants to make them work. And if the players trust the coach to put them in the right positions, to be successful, if they trust that, they're going to work for you. So I don't think that's changed. I know some people think that this generation has changed, but I think it's all about the trust that the players have for their coach.
How important are the backup players and the practice teammates back then and today?
It's immensely important, and that's one of the things that I can tell all of the teams that I've coached is that yeah, in high school maybe I didn't come off the field, but most of my career at Ithaca, I was the scout team guy and I was the backup, and I didn't see the field. I didn't travel my sophomore year, and then had to work my way all the way up to being a special teams contributor my junior year, and then finally starting my senior year. So um, you know I've found that it's easy for me to motivate the kids that maybe aren't getting a lot of playing time, that I can tell them that, listen, I've been there, and I know what you're going through, and I also know the work that needs to be put in for you to get to where you want to be and be on the field that as much as you want.
What's your opinion of today's high school football game?
I think it's great. I mean, the league we play in. I mean, there's a lot of great players, and um, the schemes are a little bit different, a little bit more wide open in the throwing, which is it's exciting. Sometimes I think some of the coaches now they force it that they want to be that wide open aerial attack team, and um, but if you don't have the players, especially at the high school level, you got to be able to adapt your system to what you have year to year. You can have your base system, that's fine, but if you don't have that quarterback to throw it around, you need to be able to switch gears a little bit. And I think sometimes coaches now, they have their system. They want to do what they see on TV on Saturdays and Sundays, and they want to be flashy, but if that's not the team that you have, then you got to be able to adapt to that.
How do you convey the message to some high school football players, but that once high school is done, their football career is done as well too?
Yeah, it's a talk we have. I've had for all the teams that I've coached, is that you need to enjoy this now, and I know, and I tell them that they're probably not going to believe me, that that you'll look back on it, and no one wants to believe that'll be over, but um, you know having fun with your teammates, and on the bus rides, and pregame meals, and hanging out after, it's a special thing. I always talk about, you don't have to be best friends with everybody on the team, but you are teammates, and you're going to remember this for a long time, and it's really special. And like I said, especially the younger guys, they don't really see that far, and I understand that. Um, so we just keep trying to impress upon that, and trying to tell some stories that I still talk to high school friends, I still talk to my college friends, and we still talk about a play that happened junior year or whatever. We still talk about all those things, and but just to have them take a deep breath every once in a while, and look around, and see how special, and how fun it is. They're working hard, but doing what they're doing is laughing in the locker room, like I said, the bus rides and the trips, and the meals and those things. Just to step back and, like I said, take a deep breath, and enjoy it.
Are the practices harder than the actual games?
They can be. It depends. I've worked for many different coaches that have different philosophies. When I first started, there was an older coach that kind of just wanted to just grind it out, and 3 hours nonstop, and we don't need water breaks and all those things. And um, so, and then I've seen some that they take it a little easy, and they want to do some more mental things. And so I've been able to, like I said, work with a bunch of different people to kind of develop my own style. And it's got to be a combination of both. When it's time to work, it's time to work, but we don't want to drive you into the ground so that you're wore out by Friday.
What motivated you back in high school, and what motivates today's players?
I'd say I was motivated by, I didn't want to I didn't want to let my teammates down, my friends down. We wanted to do some special things, and Tonawanda hadn't been in the playoffs for a long time, and that was really our goal. Our class goal was to try to get to the playoffs, and we didn't want to let each other down, and we wanted to prove to the community and to the I guess the older crew that yeah, we can still do things here at Tonawanda. The talent hasn't gone away, and that's what motivated us, was, like I said, to play for each other, and then to prove to all those older players that had maybe said that Tonawanda really wasn't that good anymore, and there was not a lot of talent in the town. So that's what kind of motivated us.
Should the TNT game still continue?
I think so. Um, you know, I, like that it's some of the most or a lot of the years it's not really that competitive, but I think it's something that the two towns just are. It's a great tradition, and for a coach coming into Tonawanda, that's a huge motivation to say, all right, we're going to get this going, and we're going to the very first thing a new coach probably always says is we're going to beat NT. That's our goal. So I think it should. Um, Sometimes things happen because of money or the numbers or whatever, but yeah, I think it should keep going.
Many school districts across the state need to change their nickname because of the Indian reference.
Mhm.
Do you have an opinion on Tonawanda having the force to change its name from the Warriors, or years ago it was the Red Warriors?
Right.
What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, are they actually talking about that? I'm not even sure.
Many of the school districts have got the
Yeah.
state mandate where they've been threatened to have money taken away from them in the school budgets, or money given by the state if they do not comply and change their names.
Right. Yeah. I saw that. I wasn't sure, if Tonawanda had made a statement about if what they were doing about that. You know, those are things that are way way above my pay grade, and if that's the way it goes, I think my first thought is, well, there's my personality would be, all right, let's find a way to somehow make this work. There's got to be a loophole. There's got to be something we can do to make it work. Whether we call the Warriors still the Warriors, and maybe we change the mascot to like a Spartan looking character, or a Roman gladiator type thing. I would work to try and see what we could do to keep it there.
How often did you get back to Tonawanda?
I go back. I mean, now that we're here in Syracuse, we were in New Jersey for the first 10 years, and that was quite a hike. But now that we're here in Syracuse, I'd say about 10, 12 times, and go back to see family. And sometimes it's hard to go see friends because spending most of the time with family. But I get back about a dozen times or so.
When you get back with some of your former teammates, you maybe have a cocktail, uh, have some stories. Do the stories get better and better embellishment over as time goes on?
Oh, they always do, and it's mostly, oh, we should have won, or we were better than this team. I mean, our senior year, we had a great team, and we lost two games before the TNT game. We lost two games. We lost to Grand Island 8-6 with a punt snap over the head for a safety, and we lost that game 8-6. And we lost to a really good Amherst team 14-13. So yeah, those stories are always tough. And then if we would have beaten NT, we would have gotten into the playoffs that year with the PowerPoints. So yeah, my senior class, we're a little disappointed because we thought we were going to be the team to finally get to the playoffs. But yeah, the stories are good. The stories are fun. Yeah, they always get better and bigger, and We were so much better than everybody else, and yeah, it's a lot of fun though.
You played at the old Clint Small Stadium. How was it playing in a mud bowl when it rained and the drainage wasn't so good?
I thankfully, from my years, I don't really remember too many of the Mud Bulls. I remember my brother Mike playing in the TNT game, probably '83 maybe. One of those was really muddy. That was the fake punt game. The NT scored on the fake punt, but that one was a Mud Bowl. I remember that, and that was a tough day. Tough day as a ball boy, I could tell you that. It was a really hard day. Getting yelled at an awful lot for not having the footballs dry. But most of the time, I mean, like I said, we spent a lot of time there. We cut through one back alley, and that was kind of almost like our backyard. So we spent a lot of time at Clint Small and trying to practice kicking field goals down there and hitting some golf balls back and forth. And that's on the baseball part of it too as well. But a lot of fun at Clint Small.
Do you have any regrets about your high school playing career?
Oh no, I don't think there's any regrets. The one thing that we talk about a lot, my friends, is the TNT game. Actually, our senior year, we all think that we had I don't want to say a way better team than NT, but I think we were even with them. I just don't think we were really prepared, ready to go for that game, and it kind of got away from us. And that's the one regret that's pretty common with my class, is that you know maybe we didn't beat them, but it should have been a lot better game than it was.
Would you change anything about your high school football career?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I had a great time with coaches and great time with my friends, and you know, getting to go different places to go visit different schools, and um, you know, because of football and being able to kind of decide how I wanted to pursue after high school. Like I said, we just had a great group of in our senior class, and even the guys below us too. We had a lot of talent, and a lot of good friends growing up with each other, and it was a good time. And then I used to tell my first days in teaching, and I still do it. Well, I mean, I'm with the little ones now, so they don't really ask about after high school, but um, I tell kids that I would go back to my senior year in high school, in a heartbeat. When the high school kids I used to teach would say, "I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to move out of this place. I can't wait to get out of high school." I'd say, "You guys are crazy." I said, I would go back to senior year in high school, in a second. I'd still do it right now. That would be great.
What brought you from New Jersey to Syracuse?
Well, I had got my first job in New Jersey, and my girlfriend, well, my now wife, we both got great jobs out there, and we decided, we didn't have kids, and we went out there, and we were there for 10 years, and I met a lot of great people and a lot of good friends. And then as we got married and as we started having kids, we wanted to get a little bit closer back to home. She's from Massachusetts, and obviously from Tonawanda, so we didn't want to go to Massachusetts. We didn't want to go all the way back to Buffalo, and she happened to get a really great job in Syracuse, and a great job offer, and it was right smack dab in the middle between our two families. So that was it was a great fit, and came here and visited a few times when she was looking at her job, and loved it. And it was more of what we were used to growing up. New Jersey was a lot bigger and a lot more people and a lot faster, and just a lot of things going on. So when we came back to visit here in Syracuse, we just we felt it was more our speed.
We've talked about a lot of different subjects in this conversation. What would you like to talk about that I haven't brought up?
Um, I think just the TNT experience was. I mean, I know we've talked about it already, but I'm not sure about. I haven't watched all your videos, and I apologize for that. But I know for our years, and for me personally, maybe some of my friends would disagree with this, but the guys from NT, we didn't really, hate each other. And in fact, I thought, the TNT games were great, not just because it was, a big game, but it was because we were pretty good friends with a lot of those guys. And, after the game, hanging out and just talking to those guys. And that's one of the things I'll remember about TNT too, was, after the game, just kind of hanging out and BSing with the NT guys on the field and seeing some of those guys at different places. And I know some years they didn't like each other, very much at all. But we like I said, and I'm sure some of my friends might disagree with me on that, but I thought we had a great relationship. I thought we played hard against each other, and we respected each other. And that was one of the things that I thought was another really cool thing about that. My couple years in the TNT game is that, the relationship with those guys as well.
Mark Prelewicz, this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad we could catch up with one another. I mean, we've gone pretty close to 45 minutes so far, and believe it or not, you are video number 871, by the way. So 871, and well over 60 player interviews and media personalities, and our individual people that we talk to, and we want to talk to more, including some of your teammates as well.
Sure.
But Mark, I want to thank you so much. It's a lot of fun, and we caught up with each other in the Fayetteville Manlius press box back in September. I think it was the first game of the year with FM taking on my Auburn Maroons, and of course you guys smoked us. It was a competitive game in the first quarter, and then it was like 45-0 afterwards. So you're affiliated with a great program, and I wish you the best of luck. And I want to thank you so much for joining me, and you and your family continue success. And God bless you. We'll talk to you later.
Anything, Ed, if anything, you feel free to contact me. And I always love being able to talk about both sides, Tonawanda, North Tonawanda history, and anytime. I love it. I love it.
You've got a pedigree for both towns, so that's what makes you lovable by both areas. So, Mark Prelewicz, thank you so much, my friend. Be well.
All right. Thank you, Ed.